I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
Hello peoples, this is freesouljah. I do not live in the White House. I do not have a staff or servants or anybody telling me what I should and shouldn't say. And I never owned a sports team, unless you count a fantasy football team. But I am a citizen of the United States of America, and I live in the heart of America. I ride public transportation, I shop at the grocery stores, I read books from a public library. I see and interact with real people on a daily basis. And this is my State of the Union address for 2007. I know the President of the United States, George Walker Bush, is likely to be trumpeting any small thing that might make him look good. We must instead look at our current state with fairness and without trying to turn it into a PR campaign. Let us look at what is really going on. This is my view of what is really going on from the heart of America. We are looking at over 3,000 dead U.S. soldiers and at least 54,000 dead Iraqis. And this is due entirely by the war started by the Bush administration. Not only that, but he intends to send more U.S. soldiers into combat zones to kill and wound more Iraqis. This is the Bush administration's policy, to kill more people, U.S. soldiers and Iraqis alike, with no end in sight. But Halliburton continues to make billions of dollars of profit from the war zones created by George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and their administration. Along with the administration's war against Iraq and Afghanistan, Bush continues his war on American citizens. Domestic spying is still taking place without the necessary restrictions which are granted to us, the U.S. citizens, by the United States Constitution. Along with that, habeas corpus is now under attack, and Attorney General Alberto Gonzales is denying that it is our right, all U.S. citizens' rights, to have a fair trial. He's denying that. So if we can't expect our own people to be treated fairly, how can we expect prisoners of war or so-called terror suspects to be treated with dignity in these military prisons such as Guantanamo Bay? Along with this, the drug war continues with fervent ignorance. The DEA is breaking down the doors of cancer and AIDS patients in states where they have a legal right to medicine. This medicine that the administration and its agencies deem as illegal. Instead of allowing these sickly people some comfort, the heavily armed agents are brutally taking their cannabis away from them, and in some cases putting them in prison for possessing it. This is the way the administration does business. This is how they operate. They use brute force and misinformation to get what they want. And it may be misinformation that is the most dangerous, because while the administration supports abstinence programs, AIDS continues to spread, as well as other dangerous STDs. Rather than educate the youth of America, George Bush wants to preach to them. But education is something that he hides from himself as well. The world is going through major shifts in climate. These are things that cannot be covered up by fancy phrasing or fake science. The reality is in the weather, and we don't need a politician to tell us which way the wind blows. We need green, renewable energy, or the floods, hurricanes, and other disasters, which we once called natural, will continue to increase and become more violent. We must try to heal the damage that our pollution has caused to this planet, or we will face the consequences. The State of the Union is not as pretty as the dolled-up version you will get from George W. Bush. It is a state of disarray. The Constitution is under fire, burning under the weight of a wartime president who starts wars and ignores the truth, because it doesn't fit with the bottom line in his corporate cronies' plans. As a citizen of the United States of America, I vote to impeach President Bush. And along with that, I like to see some of these things taken out by our people in power, hopefully very soon. I like to see heavily funded education programs put into place so that we can have new textbooks for our students, and that goes for every school, not just in the rich neighborhoods. We need new textbooks for all students and more money for all teachers so that we have qualified teachers teaching our students. Along with that, we need to house the homeless and rehabilitate them into society, because these climate changes that are taking place are going to be very hard on them, and it's going to get very ugly when there's thousands of people dying in the streets because of our climate change and our bad homeless policies. So we need to rehabilitate these people into society and give them housing while they're waiting for rehabilitation into society. Along with that, we need to give more humanitarian aid to places like Darfur and other countries that need it. We have the power, we have the global say-so that if we do something, other people will listen in other countries. So if we make the move first, they will also help. So we need to take action in places like Darfur and other places that need our help. Along with that, we need to fund scientists which are trying to eliminate global warming. We need to patch a hole in the ozone layer, which we created with our pollution. Okay, so we need to heavily fund that, because it's going to get worse as well if we do not do something about it. We also need to label bioengineered foods. So if it's an animal product or a plant product and it's bioengineered, it needs to be labeled so people know what they are eating, and if they choose not to eat that product, then they know that they are not eating bioengineered product. Along with that, we need to end the drug war. We need to stop putting people in prison for being addicts and even possessing a drug. If they are addicts, they need help, and if they are in possession, then they are in possession. It's not a criminal offense. It should not be a criminal offense to be in possession of something like that. Stop making them criminals. Along with that, we need to end the violent conflicts in other nations and use the money that is put forward into those violent conflicts for something better. Like some of the things that I outlined, there's plenty of other opportunities and things that we can do with that money and with that manpower. So let's go ahead and move forward, and maybe 2007 will be a better year. And that's my 2007 State of the Union address. This is Free Souljah. Until next time, keep the peace.